check, mic check, mic check, mic check.
1 2
1 2 1 2.
Yo, we in here.
That's right. We in the building right here. 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Yo, we in here.
I think we here.
Alright.
I think we back in full effect.
Let's do it.
We all at America and across the world.
Let's get it.
Four corners of the earth. It's your boys. We back. I know y'all been missing us. We sorry. Gonna say my apologies. We've been gone for what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Y'all had a little time to rest, decompress. Well, I'm sure you're ready for another fix of the HGN live stream, the number one show, the big show, the big podcast, the Here Goes Nothin podcast with your boys, the Bricklayers. I am Uncle Black, aka the Wise Elder, and this is my man, Ron Doe. Give you a round of applause, sir. So what up, God? Peace, God.
Hey, yo, big shouts to DJ Dave Jordan, checking in from Ethiopia. It's like 5 a.m. that time over there. He checking in.
Oh, that's where the big homie at right now?
Yeah, he's coming back next week.
Oh, man. You gonna come back with some Haile Selassie gear, man?
Probably.
Straight from the, what's that church? Annabella? Something, that church they carved out of the rocks.
Something like that. He's where life started.
That's right. That's where the original Garden of Eden, I think, is. So they say. Don't mind me. Jordan, what's up, man? Shout out to Frankie. Big Frankie, what's happening? Where you at? Get all these shout outs out the way. Everybody that's been with us. Want to give a shout out to all my big homeboys from BCU. The fam.
BCU.
Shout out to Kool-Aid, G, Rob, Killer P. We had an awesome weekend last weekend.
Yeah.
That's one of the
regrets.
reasons why we wasn't here, of course. But tonight, we are back. I'm excited. You excited, man?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
You ready? What you hitting us off with tonight?
We're playing Woo joints all night. Woo joints.
Yo, son. When I watched that last episode when they was performing, getting chills, man.
Yeah.
I get chills. I'm like, yo, I felt like I was there. Like, that was my era. I think I had all the Wu-Tang joints. Tonight we'll be joining us, or tonight's guest that will be joining us to say, is our homeboy, Mr. Delvin Rogers Sr. himself, from Calm 24/7. The master of managing anger. Try to get our youth them right. Brother with a cause. He'll be joining us. We'll be chopping it up, seeing what he's been up to, seeing what's new, what's out there, what's going on. But without no further ado, Ron, whenever you're ready, we can get started. It's the Bricklayers. It's the Here Goes Nothin live stream. Do remember to tell a friend to tell a friend. We got the phone up tonight.
We sure do.
That's right. The number to call, 786-531-9375. That's it. I went so fast. Gee. 786-531-9375. Don't doubt yourself, kid. That's right. I got on my Woo-Wear shirt. My camera. Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, you trying to tell me you didn't see my shirt first before you said that?
I didn't see the shirt. I didn't.
Hey, man, it's coincidence or is it fate? What's those two twins from G.I. Joe? Like when one get punched, the other one feel the pain?
Yeah. Oh, God.
That's crazy, right? Got on my Woo shirt. Coming here ready to blast some Woo. So coming up, how soon we gonna bring him on? It's already almost 10:15. So what, 10, 20, 10:30?
I guess we could play like maybe this one joint to bring him in.
What's going on, man?
Good, man. Can't complain, man. What about you guys?
All right, well, you sound good. We're here, we're hanging, trying to recoup. It's Friday. It's been a long week, long week, trying to recover. You see something around it?
Definitely.
You see something? Oh, why we don't see you?
It's all good. Don't worry
Gotta
about
adjust that camera right there.
Oh, it's the phone.
The phone is tripping. All right, man. So, do we need another introduction, or you want to? Everybody should know you by now. But for those that may be tuning in for the first time, go ahead and introduce yourself, my brother.
Yeah, man. My name Delvin Rogers Sr. Man, this is my third go round with you guys. You know what I mean? So I'm just basically trying to push the initiative out there. In terms of anger management, youth and anger management, and everything that it surrounds. In terms of self-control and emotional intelligence, and just things that I think youth need to know in terms of how to combat that built up anger, how to control it, how to have that self-control. So basically, with the LLC that I have, I'm just trying to reach as many youth as possible, just to teach them how to have that self-control, with things that they deal with, so it won't spiral out of control. So
hey, that's what's up. Round of applause for you, my brother. Round of applause. Let's get you a nice round of applause. We've been off for 2 weeks, man. We're a little rusty trying to get this thing back working. Trying to get it working. So, what's new, man? What's happened since the last time we had our forum here, when we had everybody on talking, discussing our mental health and violence in the communities? What's happened for you since then?
Yeah, man. Well, of course, since the last time I've been on, of course, school has started back, and that's 100% back in, full force. So, just working full time with that, and, with the LLC doing that on the side. But, just trying to push that initiative. And just recently, I was able to obtain my vendor's number. And what that does is that allows me to, if I wanted to, conduct groups in schools, that's a number that you have to be able to go in schools and do small groups or large groups or whatever, and be able to, get paid by the school board and stuff like that. So I just recently obtained that. So that's a big deal, because ultimately that's
round of applause for that.
Big news.
Yeah. So that's what I'd like to do, so that was my goal, to get that certificate number and do that. But other than that, just, trying to do a few podcasts, a few IG lives, and just, keep the name out there, keep that ringing, for people to, get abreast of what my initiative is all about, and then just steady putting posts and putting content, man, just trying to keep the name alive, and, just having people to see it and ask questions, and, just go from there.
I'm trying to get this camera working. Ron, do you got any questions?
Yeah, if you look on the thing, Achille, he says he has one of your students here. Oki, he says hello.
Yeah. That's one of my that's one of my students.
Well, that's big. That's big.
Yeah, big up Oki. Respect.
Yeah. Oki, he's a fourth grader. Real quiet dude. Don't say too much, so I don't have a problem with Oki. He's a real cool student, man. Don't say a lot, but good guy.
Yeah, just like his dad, just laid back.
Yeah, man, real mellow, just real mellow, man. It's hard to even find any issues, at all, because they're so laid back.
That's what's up. So since last time we spoke,
okay, what happened there?
Okay, you all right?
1, 2. I'm hearing. So you hear that feedback?
Oh yeah, I hear the feedback, but I don't know what that is.
Go ahead.
Can you hear us still?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, last time, has there been any buildup of activity in your organization or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I've just been doing Zoom sessions. I still do it with the Urban League from time to time, and I just linked up with the Epic Foundation. So we're going to be touching bases and doing a few things. And I actually have a IG Live that I'm doing with them on the 21st, and that'll be part 2. So from that, with their foundation and their following, and then me linking up with them. So that's just going to bring more attention to what I'm trying to do. And, I'm hoping to gain, like some clients, from them and build more clientele and then just, move this thing out, But like I said, earlier, my biggest thing was trying to get that vendor's license, which I obtained, because that's going to be big. Once I can get into schools, and even if it's just one school, that's a start right there, because then it'll catch on after that. You know what I mean? So, and even if it's a small group in a school, if it's 2 students, I'm good with that, because I'm at least pushing that initiative into schools, because I think that's where it really needs to start.
Yes.
And then everything else can, work itself out into the community and stuff like that. But the biggest thing is getting into the schools, talking to some students. And one thing that was very important to me was, guidance counselors, they play a, pivotal role, but at the same time, their hands are tied, so it takes a person like me or others who have programs to get into schools to kind of take that pressure off of their back and really sit down with these students who really want to converse and talk about some things, but, that guidance counselor is not accessible at the moment. And, here I am coming in and really sitting down, and it's not for me to drill the point of, why do you have anger, this, that, and other. My point is to just sit back and listen, because, students, they want to express some things, so I just want to listen, and give that advice after the fact, or go over some, pivotal points of things that they would need to do, but that can come at a later time. Right now, I just want to sit back and listen and have them express what they're feeling, because that's the most important thing.
Okay, so presently right now you're a one-man show, or do you have a team of people?
Nah, it's just me. It's just me, because I know how I want it. I know, the ideas that I have, and not saying that I wouldn't, be open to, people assisting, but I think once I really get on the map and really do some things and start to grow, then, of course I'll need the help. But I just want to go in and, and express my ideas to, the higher ups and stuff like that. And then, eventually branch out with more help.
Sounds good. How many schools have you been in so far?
I've reached out to maybe about 5 schools, Pine Ridge, Cypress Run, just to name a few, because those are, more alternative, so with those students, they, those schools are, alternative schools. So they have kids with, different issues and things like that. So I want to target them, because then, you want to get a chance to feel what those students are feeling and, have them to, really pour out, some of that aggression. And then you can get your point across with what you're trying to do. Then I'll branch out to, other public schools and things like that.
With the schools that you have reached out to, are you receiving any resistance?
No, what the holdup is that vendor's license, because it's easy for them to say, okay, well, your outline or your program sounds good, once I email them, all of my information, but you really can't get in and present and do things that you'd like to do without that vendor's license. So that was my main reason for pushing so hard to do that. And now, it's basically, so now I can go ahead and email principals and more assistant principals and send in my outline and things like that. And then boom, once they have something that's open, I can go out there and present and, get the name out there. And it's not really about starting small groups or, trying to get, money from that. It's just mainly to get the name out there. And I think after that starts to, ring a bell, then the doors are open from there.
Okay. How long was the process to get this vendor's license?
Oh, man. Well, just doing the application alone is pretty lengthy because it's very detailed. So you have to, what is the name of your program? What is your program all about? EIN number, your W-9 form, and, it's just real detailed. So you have to really, sit down and go over it with a fine-tooth comb. But once you do that, and then, then you send it off, and I say about 2 to 3 weeks, while in review, and then they send you the information that, this was complete, or you're missing this or missing that. Then you got to fill that out, and, you want to send it back. You don't want to sit for too long and not fill it out, and then it takes even longer. But I think, total, probably about 4 weeks in total before I got the word.
Oh, okay. It's not too bad.
Yeah, not that bad. Just the application is lengthy. But, the waiting game, that's, if you have patience and you can wait, then it's not that hard.
It's a process. Everything is a process.
Of course. Absolutely.
I mean, just the way you describe an application, I think that unless somebody isn't very strong-minded, that's almost like a deterrent to fill it out if it's that lengthy.
Well, I mean, if it's something that you're really trying to get because you know what you're trying to do, then that's the easy part. You know what I mean? It's just it's tedious, but I can understand because, they're not just going to give anybody a vendor's license. You have to, they want specifics. You got to give specifics, and you got to sit back and wait. Once you get it, it was all worth it because, you have a goal that you're trying to do, and like I said, I mean, my biggest thing was if I can get into schools, that would be my ticket to put my name out there and do some great things. So I didn't mind doing it. Again, you just got to be detailed, but you know what you're trying to do. So you're going to fill it out and be as detailed as possible and just sit back and wait till, they give you that green light. And that's about it.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man.
Hey, man, so for now, this is still your second job, or is you full-time with this now?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I was asking, is this still your second job? Like, I know you had a regular job and you were doing this on the side. So are you full-time now with this?
No. I'm still. It's still a part-time thing. Until it grows the way I envision it. Then I'll go ahead and step aside from the full-time teaching and take on that responsibility full-time, because then you can call the shots. You don't really have to punch a clock. You can if you got a couple of schools under your belt and you go and do groups here, groups there. That's the ultimate goal. And don't get me wrong. I don't dislike teaching. But of course, you gotta. If your schedule is 8 to 4, that's what it is, 8 to 4. But ultimately, if I can get some schools under my belt, and I have a group set up at 1, and then another group over here at another school at 2. You calling your own shots, and then. You're still doing what you love to do in terms of passion of teaching. You just, doing it your way. So that's the goal.
Okay, at this particular time, do you think you're mentally ready for this to take off?
Oh man, absolutely. Because this has been in the making for some years, and it's just I sat on it. I didn't quite know how to go about doing, different things. And I guess it just came a point where, you need to really, get at it. You're not getting any younger. You're watching people and their programs, do well. And, you've had this written in a notebook for, X amount of years. What are you waiting on? So, so I feel as though just from working in the school board and working with kids for so long. So it's like, this is, second nature to just jump out there and do something that you already know, and you've seen, basically if my, program is geared towards, anger management, and you've seen, kids with, different traumas and anger and this, that, and other, and working at, detention facilities and, Department of Juvenile Justice, you've seen it. So it's like, I've had that experience. I have the knowledge. So, just get out there and do it. So.
All right, sounds like you're ready.
So when you normally go visit the kids, usually after school or set up on your day off, when do you find the time?
Yeah, well, for now, like with the Urban League, when I work with them, because they have like a program for kids who are like first-time offenders. So with that program, that's from like 5 to 6 o'clock, so a good hour, which is great because the information that you want to give the youth, you don't want to overdo it, and at some point, just like adults, with so much information, or if you're sitting through something, then you get distracted, then you get bored, and, you're not that interested. So I think for me, 45 minutes to an hour, that works well. You can get your point across. You can give them time to, say what they have to say, and then give that advice and go from there. And to me, I found that to be most effective because it's not overdoing it. You can get your point across within 45 minutes to an hour and have them to absorb what they need to and have them coming back. Because if it pushes longer than an hour, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have those kids to return or be interested in anything that you're trying to do.
So when you meet with them, do you go in with like a set format, or do you freestyle everything? No,
well, now that I kind of know the kids, it's a format. But what I did, in the beginning was basically like an icebreaker. So, I would give them a few questions, when you feel angry, what is it, that you do, just various questions to get them to engage, and it's questions that are not lengthy, but stuff that I know that they can understand and give me feedback on that. But it's more so that icebreaker to where I can get to know them, they can get to know me, but I engage with them and I answer those same questions that I ask them. That way they don't feel as though, well, he's just trying to get to know our business, but we don't know nothing about him. Mm-hmm. So I'm very engaged. I participate fully. That way, we're all connected, because kids can tend to think that, okay, well, he just think, I'm angry, but what about him? And I dig deep. I go about, when I get angry, what I do, or, when I feel angry, what's the next thing I do, stuff like that. So I want them to feel comfortable with me as well as I feel comfortable with them.
Cool. That's good.
How do you get yourself up to the task every day? Like, there's got to be moments when you don't feel like doing it and you got to go, or you might have your own set of issues going on. How do you keep that from, interfering?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think it's so easy, though, working with kids, because it could be just that one thing that a kid will say or do, and that just gives you that energy for whatever reason, because of course, being a full-time teacher, that's a task within itself, and you're not going to have days where you feel like, giving a lesson or this, that, and other, but it's like, it may be that one kid that may stop you in the hallway, and it's so strange now because kids, everybody's masked up. So what brings that good feeling is kids know exactly who you are. You know what I mean? And you may not really recognize them because you haven't seen them in a while and they have a mask on, but they know you. And it's like, how you doing, Mr. Rogers, and stuff like that. And it's just like small things like that, really changes the course of your day. It's something as small as that. So, I find that boost of energy from that little small thing, and and just go about doing what I was, put here to do, and that's just work with kids. So something as small as that.
Okay. So in this work, what are some of the things that you would say that you identify as like the cause of these kids? Is it a lot of different issues, or is it usually a few set of things that triggering these kids off?
It's a lot of things, man. Trauma, death in the family. You have, situations where kids are left to fend for themselves, like mom or dad works, or, sometimes kids are with grandma. Grandma is, a certain age, up in age. So it's like, they still fend for themselves. Being bullied, that brings on a lot of anger. So those are the main things that I've come across, that really trigger, those anger tendencies, and that's at a high level, but a lot of times, like I said, it's, that trauma. It might have been, death in the family. It might have been mom, it might have been dad, close friend, close relative. Kids are being bullied. Social media plays.
I was just gonna ask you that.
Yeah, social media has turned into something that it wasn't designed for. It's something that's went totally left now. So you have kids that are have anger issues because of the access of other kids, and kids say one thing and then you're angry. Now you have a social media beef, and then you want to meet somewhere and this, that, and the third. So that also plays a major role, and this is where kids gather, to talk this and talk that, and they may not necessarily have super access to that person. It's just through social media, but the kids get angry quickly based off of something that was said, and that anger turns into wanting to act on impulse. And we've seen, on the news or social media outlets or whatever, when youth or even, young adults, what they want to do is just act on impulse. They don't want to process it and sit back and think like, okay, well, I don't really know this person, so there's no need in me getting too upset or angry over somebody I really don't know. But we see that, okay, I want to act on impulse because I can't believe this person said that, and and it goes from one thing to another. So that's just some of the things that I've experienced.
Do you think there's a difference in generations when it comes to anger issues? Because I don't know, for some reason, I know we had our anger issues back in our generation, but it just seems like it's more prevalent these days, where everybody is just so easily ticked off and acting off impulse. Or is that the case, or it really is just the same? It's just that we're seeing it more now. I mean,
I think it's generational, because we didn't have social media, so it was like, okay, you may be mad about something, but you walk that off. Or if you had, you were angry at somebody, at most it would be a fight and then it's done, or words back and forth and then it's done. Now, it's social media, it's the hype of what was said, and then you have other kids that join in, and then the social media, and then it explodes, and then you eventually meet up with these people or whatever the case is, and it goes from there, but it's just, I think, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but this is the reason why, some of these programs, or my program, needs to be put out there, because then it can teach, okay, well, hey, you don't have to always react to something that's negative. You can go about it this way or that way, but again, with this generation, they just want to act on impulse. I can't believe he or she said that. I have to handle that right now, just to get that point across, because, I'm not a punk, I'm not soft, I'm not this, I'm not that, but social media, that plays a huge role, and we didn't have that. So, it was just, you say what you say and then it's done, but social media, it goes on and goes on and goes on until, you meet up, and then it goes left. We've seen this.
Social media has a bigger reach, because you could be beefing with somebody nowhere near you. You know what I mean? Most of the time in our generation, we fighting on the basketball court with the people we see every day, and then you cool after that. But you can be beefing with somebody you don't know just off of some comments, and then it has such a big audience, like everybody seeing you getting humiliated or whatever. Something could happen at the court, nobody knows about it except those who are at the court. Now social media, like, everybody, the whole world sees you. So now you really gotta react.
Exactly. And they, you know, and it's a platform to where you can set it up to where you can, you know, tell people, hey, okay, well, Sally or John, they're going to fight, you know, and it's going to be over here at Wingstop or this, that, and the other, or, you know, and it's just, and it goes from there. And then it just, you know, goes from one person to 1,000 people to this, that, and the other. And then, you know, of course, we're in the recording generation, you know what I mean? To where it goes viral. You know, so that's a problem also, you know, with recording everything, you know, and then you put it on social media again, and then it just explodes from there, you know. So, it's a big thing, but definitely I would say that this generation, you know, definitely acts on impulse.
It's crazy though. It's like in our time, it's like you wouldn't want to get punked like you in school in front of the girl you might have a crush on. So imagine now you getting punked in front of the whole world, everybody seeing you. You really, you know, gonna go out. You're gonna go out the blaze after that. Exactly.
So, yeah, man.
So what's some of the remedies you dish out, man? Besides, you know, talking to you, give them exercises to do, any kind of activities to calm them down, like to practice the woosah, to stretch, yoga, anything like that?
Yeah, it's all any particular group that I work with, you know, and I usually take like for instance, you know, when your wife, when she had the girls group, and when I went to speak to that group, you know, and I took some goodie bags and stuff with them, and you know, I'm like, okay, well, I've never worked with an all girl group, but you know, everybody has anger, you know, built in, so. What I wanted to do was, you know, take some goodie bags, you know, and stuff like that, and stress balls and stuff like that. But more so than anything, you know, I wanted to do that icebreaker with them. And those questions that I had, I think it was about maybe 10, you know, but questions to kind of challenge them, but also open them up to express what they're feeling on paper. And then, you know, also, of course, I did the questions, but I wanted them to read the questions and give their responses just so they can get it out, you know, how they're really feeling and be honest about it. You know, that way, you know, they don't have to, you know, have it balled in. But I think one of the questions was, you know, how often do you hold your anger? You know, and you will be surprised at, you know, some of the responses that they gave in terms of, you know, I don't like sharing stuff, or when I'm angry, I do this or hit a wall and stuff like that, you know. So for me, I think they were engaging because I didn't give that impression like, well, why do you do that? Or, you know, I wanted them to understand that I'm here to listen, but I wanted them to get it out, you know, and feel good about at least expressing that, you know. And then after, you know, later on, you know, we would talk about, okay, well, you know, perhaps you can do it this way. And what do you think about if you were to not hit that wall, but do this or do that, you know? And then, you know, they would be like, okay, yeah, well, that makes sense. You know, perhaps that wasn't the smartest thing to hit the wall because I got nothing out of it, you know, but a hole in the wall. So by far, to be honest, that was the best group that I've ever worked with, you know, and you would think, okay, if I worked with a group of young men, I would get more out of them. But the young ladies, they were engaging, and they said, you know, yeah, that makes sense because, you know, to go in my room and slam doors or put a hole in the wall, I mean, nothing came out of that. I was still angry, you know, but if I were to just decompress, maybe take a walk, you know, talk to somebody, you know, that would have worked out a lot more. So that's just some of the things I do with groups, and I show them that, you know, I was once your age, or I'm this, but I get a negative thing. It's healthy because we all get angry, you know, but it's just how you handle it, you know, with that self-control. So
I'm going to go out on a limb and ask you, do you think diet may have anything to do with with these anger issues?
Man, I don't think I've ever been asked that.
I was thinking that, man.
That might you know, if we looked into, you know, science, maybe, because here's the thing, you know, a lot of kids don't do breakfast, but their breakfast is, let's say, Takis, you know, or whatever type of candy there is out there, and we're talking about early in the morning, you know, so
Hot fried.
that may trigger some things, you know. I mean, who knows? But I would say that's not the best thing to do. It may play a role. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
I don't know, like for me, like I feel like when I'm eating like fruit, like watermelons and grapes, like I'm in a different mode. Like I sit back, get comfortable, and I feel relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, and it can very well play a role because, you know, you're not energetic. Let's say if you ate a bowl of fruit, you know, you ate cereal, sliced bananas in there, whatever, you're ready for your day, because I mean that's, you know, something nutritious or whatever. But, you know, with that candy and chips and stuff early in the morning, now you have that sluggish downward feeling, you know, and now you're in class or whatever the case is, and the teacher is asking you questions, and, you know, you're tired and you're sluggish or whatever, and now that anger is built up because, of course, that teacher may say, okay, well, you're not paying attention, you're not doing work, okay, well, that's a 0. Boom, now that sparks something in you, and there's the anger, you know, because now you know you have a 0, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Now you're saying some things that you shouldn't, but you haven't given it thought, but that's kind of on you because, I mean, you didn't have that proper nutrition or that diet to, you know, have you upbeat where you should be. So that might be the case.
One thing I'm pretty sure of is lack of sleep.
Woo.
That's a conversation within itself, because I mean, a lot of times, you know, again, social media, you know, and a lot of kids have phones now. You know, parents are buying them phones at an early age. I mean, it's good for emergency purposes, you know, but I just think it needs to be monitored, you know, and parents have access to that to cut certain things off at a certain time. But you'd be surprised, kids up to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be to school at 7:30. You know, you just dozed off at 3:30, 4 o'clock. You know, so now you come into school, you're sleeping, you're sluggish. You know, I mean, diet, exercise, and the proper sleep, that plays a role. That does play a role.
Yeah, I noticed that with my daughter. When I have to hide the phone now at nights because she'll find it and she'll be on it all night until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, catch them with it, and then they have to be up in like a half hour. And she's just miserable. Can't say anything to her. But because I understand she's so tired. She's lacking sleep. And I feel bad because she has to go to school like that. Well, that was back then, but now, you know, I lock the phone up. So we don't have those issues anymore. But I'm sure people are going or experiencing that right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. If it's not that, it's, you know, video games and the various different games, you know, Roblox and...
Yes.
I gotta hide the tablet from my son.
Yes.
He'll be in the bed all night with the tablet going. If you let them, they can't manage themselves. So you have to, you know, you have to step in. You have to monitor that, like you say.
Right. Yeah, man. All that plays a role.
Yeah. And you got a lot of parents that's probably not monitoring, or like you say, kids come from homes where the parents might not be there, might be out working. Grandma not monitoring what they doing. Grandma just don't want to be bothered, so just go do what you do.
Right. You know, as long as you're doing that and you're quiet, you know, go do it, you know, but it's doing more harm than good, you know, because of course, if you're not monitoring it and they up to 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, I mean, and you're satisfied because they're not, you know, let's say running the streets or, you know, doing something that they shouldn't, you know, so you allow that, you know, but it's not really doing any good. It's doing more harm, you know, and again, lack of sleep, you know, and that just brings on, you know, different attitudes, you know, and then, you know, which will fester into anger, because if you're in school and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, Here's the teacher telling you, well, get on track, or you're getting this, and now you're upset. So
I know there are some kids who are like actually angry at their parents or one of their parents, and the parents don't even know that. So when you're dealing with some of these kids, how do you get them to open up so you can find out, okay, so this is actually what's going on, but your parents are not aware of what's going on, so they can't make any changes at home because they don't know.
Right. Well, with that, I do it as a delicate situation, so I try and peel those layers, very delicately, because not every kid is going to open up with you about, situations at home or parents and things like that. But, I try and tell them, it's a gradual step, but you want to have that communication with your parents, and hopefully the parents are on the receiving end, with wanting to hear what the child has to say, because that's where it starts, and some kids don't talk to their parents because it's not, on the receiving end, because some parents don't have the time, or they don't want to hear it, or this, that, and other, which leads to kids getting into all sorts of different things, because they really don't have anybody to talk to, and for a child to want to open up and talk to a parent about different things, that's a great start, because some kids fall back from wanting to tell their parents anything. So I just think it should be a fair trade in terms of communication. But I try and, just peel those layers and get little by little information about the child, and, how's your home life, and, what are your parents like, and, do they work, and what type of relationships do you have, because that's where it starts. And once you get that information, you can see, okay, well, the child has slight anger because of XYZ, and you could be able to tell, okay, well, now I understand. And, I may not necessarily feel their pain, probably because I didn't experience it, but I can understand, okay, just based off of the information that they gave. So it's 50-50, and it can work itself out if parents are, receptive to just listening to, what your child has to say, despite, if they've had issues in the past or whatever, perhaps they're, trying to talk to you to express some things that they may have going on. It might be with, you per se, or something that's going on in school, or with a teacher, or this, that, and other. So when it's 50-50, then things can work out, and then you can kind of see that anger shift into being self-controlled, and them being able to do what they need to do.
Do you have a lot of interactions with parents, or it's just mainly the kids?
Well, I try and do both, but it's so hard to get a good reception from parents, and I think it's based on just what my angle is, because the first thing that parents see, youth and anger management, well, my child doesn't have any anger issues, or he or she is not mad, but it's not the fact that I'm labeling them. I'm just pointing the fact out that, with anger, we all have it, but there's other factors, that's just the nucleus, anger, that's just the nucleus, but there are other factors, in terms of self-control, emotional intelligence, coping, and things like that, and that's the factors. So if we could, get control of all of those factors, then that anger can kind of, fade away, because they know how to, have that self-control. They know how to cope with things that may come at them. They know what emotional intelligence means, and then they can go about, being their productive selves, but when they don't know any of that, or how to manage that, then they're just and have that anger. But parents, they see anger, you're labeling my child, and that's just not the case, and they tend to kind of fall back because that's all they see, that's why I just try and push that content, on IG and Facebook, and I basically, put steps in terms of, it's not a labeling thing. I want to discuss factors, to kind of push that anger aside, but they just assume, okay, well, he's just pointing at my child, or, he thinks they're angry. You may be angry for even thinking that I'm talking about your child and saying that they're angry. You're angry for no reason. So I don't know. It's just one of those things.
Is in most cases like the parents are non-receptive because they may feel like the problem is a reflection on them because of their destructive behaviors or their lack of involvement.
Exactly, and they assume that I'm pointing the finger at them for the title of what my program is all about, and that's just not the case, because I'm getting to know your child and I'm working with them, and then we can have a conversation in terms of what I'm noticing and what I'm trying to help your child do, and overcome. It has nothing to do with you in terms of me pointing fingers at you, because that's just not the case at all. I want to be able to help your child and teach them, if even if they do have, anger issues, that's not what I'm focused on. I'm focused on, trying to show them, about life skills and management and how to cope with this and just different things that may come at them, and how to just have that self-control and not act on impulse or give a response to everything that comes at them negative. You don't have to give everything a response. You can walk away. You can have that, walk by yourself, or, just count numbers or write poetry or this, that, and other. There's different ways of combating that anger, so, and a lot of kids don't know that, and some parents don't know that, they're angry themselves, so they see it one way and it's their way and no other way. And that's, and that's the unfortunate part.
Do you think in some cases, like, people are finding it cool to be this way? Like all these, what's the words I'm looking for? Like these words we throw around now, being triggered all the time, toxic, and like people seem like love to put these labels out there all the time on people. And
yeah. I mean, we don't know why it's cool to be that way. We can't understand it because again, we're much older, so we don't get it, but, I try and tell youth, just be you. You don't have to really, chase what you see on social media or whatever. Just be yourself, but being angry or trying to belong, because it looks cool, just be yourself, and the biggest thing is with chasing something or chasing to be somebody you're not, and then that's when the real consequences kick in, because that's not who you are. But once you have that label on you, or you get into something, it's much harder to get out of, because that's not you, but now you've become somebody you're not, and then those consequences. And sometimes somebody may be able to help you get out of that, but chances are, if you can't get out of that, now you're stuck, or you don't want to have that label of, that angry black boy, angry black girl. That's not, we already have that, that's how they see us, so let's kind of change that narrative, and some kids get it, some kids don't, and they just want to be cool and angry. And, I like to be triggered so I can react this way and that way, because it looks cool in front of people.
Yeah.
Again, it looks cool now, but again, those consequences kick in, now what? Because you can't kind of flip back and be the person you were, because you have something hanging over your head. So sometimes it can be fixed. Sometimes those consequences are a lot harder than most. And then, what can you do?
Do you deal mostly with young men, or do you also deal with young women as well?
Both.
Oh, both. Okay.
Yeah, both. Because again, we've seen, young girls act on impulse and the fights, and of course, the recordings and social media and this, that, and other. She said this, and you know, and a lot of times it's petty, you know. But I just gotta act on impulse because I'm angry right now at something she said, and it could be something as small as I don't like your shoes, you know. But to us that's petty, and it should be petty. But you know, that triggered me. I'm already angry because something happened at the house, and you know, I just want to fight. I just want to do this or do that, you know. So it's a lot of factors, you know. And sometimes when I talk to them, you know, it didn't really make sense because she doesn't know me, and my shoes are fresh. You know, her shoes were uglier than mine, and I didn't, you know, stuff like that, you know. And I'm like, yeah, you know, you are who you are. You know, you don't have to prove anything to nobody. You know, just do what you do. You know, you don't. Even if she talks about your shoes, you know your shoes are fresh. And 9 times out of 10, if she's going hard at you and her shoes are uglier than yours, I mean, she's trying to bully you. She's trying to bait you into something that you don't need to get into because it's petty. It's just that petty.
So, do you deal more with boys or more with girls? I mean, is there a ratio as far as like maybe there's more angry young men than there are angry young women?
I'd say women more than men.
That's a good question, but I've worked with both groups equally, though. To be honest with you, I've done all girl groups, all male groups. Definitely not at the same time, but I would say I've worked with both equally. Who has the more anger? I would say the girls just a tad bit, you know, because just based off of jealousy and things that they go through, you know, in the neighborhoods, at school, personal issues with mom, you know, and things that are going on at the house. And, you know, of course, mom has Joe and Jack and Sam and, you know, different figures, you know, coming in and out, you know, so that brings on that anger because it's like, you know, what are you doing, mom? And, you know, and she may not express that to mom, but it's festered. So it's just built up. And again, you know, they may go to school and hear somebody saying one thing and that built up frustration and anger. And that just triggers right away. And it doesn't have anything to do with what the girl said. It's just what's on her mind and what's going on at home, you know. For the guys, you know, it may not be that jealousy to that effect, but you know, dad is not around. You know, it's some things that I want to do or some things that I want to learn. There's no, you know, male around. I see kids in the neighborhood. They have this, they have that. I don't have that. You know, mom works 2 jobs. You know, I'm at home at night, you know, by myself or taking care of, you know, my little brothers. And, you know, I'm at a certain age, but I shouldn't be doing this, you know, because I want to do other things and stuff like that. So it's a lot of things, you know, but definitely the girls just by a little percentage. But, you know, they share quite a few things, you know, and they really express why they're angry, and it's understood. You know, I sit back and listen. I don't say, well, hey, you should do this, you should do that. My main goal is I want to listen so I can give the correct advice and not feel that I'm coming to point fingers because I've heard you got anger issues and this, that, and other. I just want to listen and find out why. Advice and we come up with a solution, and it takes time, you know, because you're not gonna drop that anger overnight, or you're not gonna feel this way about your mom or dad, you know. That's not gonna change overnight, but we can work on how to gradually come to terms, and possibly you have a conversation with them, and hopefully they're willing to listen, and you can express what you feel, and kind of work on that anger.
That's a good point, because how can we get across to the kids and the parents that communication is very important at home? Because I can see that a lot of parents are very reluctant to even acknowledge or listen to what their kids are saying, and they like brush it off like, you're young, you don't know what you're talking about, or whatever, but right. It means a lot to these kids what they're trying to say, and they feel like their feelings have no value at home.
Right, and that's where it starts, because again, the kids have so much built up, and they're young, but they have a lot on their minds. They have a lot on their chest. They see things. And when the parents are reluctant to sit and listen, it's they know that, okay, well, they may come at me hard for something I'm doing, but definitely neglecting the fact that what my child may say may open my own eyes, to see what I'm doing wrong, and for me to get my stuff together, and that's where it starts, because then you could really build a relationship to where, okay, well, he or she is not always slamming doors, but I want to chastise them for doing so, but you don't know why they're doing so, and then when they want to talk to you about it, again, you're reluctant, and then this is why they're slamming doors. And all they want to do is talk to you or express to you how they're feeling, and again, you don't allow them to express it, then you miss out on something that's important. It may be something that's going on at school. Again, it may be, they may be bullied. They may be having an issue with a teacher or principal, somebody in the neighborhood, you yourself. So, you got to allow them to be expressive, so, you could be aware of things that are going on, because you don't want to find this out secondhand or at the last minute, because again, different things occur to where it's so built up, and those triggers, somebody say one thing and then boom, something happens, and you don't want it to be a tragic situation or something that can't be brought back. So it's best to sit down and really hear your child out, and you can give that advice. It don't necessarily have to come from me. You can do it, and watch your child gradually get better at something that you're seeing at home. It goes from there, but it starts there, and no disrespect to, parents who have to work, 1-2 jobs and things like that, because you got to put food on the table, bills got to be paid, things like that. But also, hear your child out when they're ready to talk to you about how they're feeling. They may not like you working 2 jobs, or they may not like being stuck at home at night having to watch over, their little brothers or little sisters or whatever, and then you can kind of build that bond to let them know, okay, well, hey, I'm doing this for you guys because of X, Y, Z, and with that relationship, that starts to where they can understand, okay, well, mom is doing it for this reason, and not just mom is not talking or allowing me to talk to her and say what I'm feeling. So I'm just going to keep that anger and, fight anybody I see, or snap at anybody who tries to talk to me, or cracks on my clothes or shoes or things like that. I'll know how to handle it a little better, because I finally was able to have that sit down with mom or dad, and now I'm getting these, little tips about self-control and emotional intelligence and how to cope with this or that, and then that'll build a better relationship.
Can you talk just a little bit about emotional intelligence?
Well, with the emotional intelligence, that's your way of knowing exactly how to handle what you're feeling. You have that knowledge of knowing, okay, well, I feel this way because of this or that, but you're able to have that intelligence to know exactly how to handle it. If I'm angry, I know that I'm angry because of whatever occurred, but I know how to handle it in a positive way, You know, because if you don't know that you're, you know, with the different emotions, sad, mad, angry, confused, scared, whatever, if you don't have that intelligence in knowing why you're that way, then you're going to react a certain way. But if I know I'm sad, okay, well, I'm sad because of whatever. Okay, but I know what to do next. If I'm angry, you know, I know that I'm angry. I know what brought that on. How do I, you know, I know how to handle it. I know my cool down points and periods, and then I know what to do next. You know, so it's just you being fully aware of why you're that way and being able to move on from that, and not just be, you know, just stuck in a box and not knowing how to handle it.
How are the kids as far as with the emotional intelligence? Do you find that it's the smart kids that get it, or all the kids, or any kid get it?
Any kid, because, you know, it's just if they've never expressed it or talked about it or sat down with somebody who can give them those fine points, then they're just gonna, you know, feel the way they feel. You know, even with the smarter kids, you know, that they can be smart in one thing, you know, but just they don't know how to handle triggers, or let's say they got a B-, you know, they're straight A students, but they got a B-, but they've never had somebody to sit down with them to talk about coping skills, or, you know, management, you know, so now they're going to react, you know, how they feel, you know, because they've never got a B- before, you know, so it's never been to where it's okay that you got that B-, you know, things happen. Or if you feel angry about that B-, it's okay, you know, to feel that way because it's healthy. But let's talk about self-control and let's talk about coping, so you can know that it's not the end of the world that you got that B-. Okay, well, you know, for next time, you know, maybe study a little harder, or let's sit down and go over some of the questions or techniques that you did that may not have worked, you know, so you could get it for next time, you know. So if they've never had that, you know, then they're going to react how they're going to react.
True. I find a lot of people that have poor communication skills get angry. Like people that stutter or people that can't express themselves or talk, they be the ones that want to fight first.
Yeah.
Right. And you get a lot of that too, because, you know, again, like you said, you know, some kids are you know, have poor communication skills, you know, have different deficiencies, you know, stuttering and poor reading skills, and that's where the bullying comes in. So you have those kids who are fed up. You know, I'm tired of these kids picking on me because I can't read or I stutter and things like that. And again, that brings on the emotional intelligence. You know, why am I angry, you know, about this or whatever? And I know who I am, but I don't know why they're picking on me, or I don't know why I'm angry, you know. But if you knew why you were angry, or because, you know, you stutter, or I don't know how to cope, you know, then you're just going to be angry all the time at somebody saying something to you. And you don't necessarily have to, it just doesn't stop there, because if nobody ever talks to that kid, you know, then they're just going to take that anger and it's just going to follow them to, from, let's say, 8th grade to 12th grade to adulthood, you know, and that's just what they're going to be on. Every time somebody picks on me about my stuttering, I'm ready to fight. Yeah. You know, but if nobody steps in to say, okay, well, you could do it this way or you could do it that way, that's just going to be their angle. And you have that, you know, kids who stutter, kids who can't read, and kids are cruel. Kids have no filter whatsoever, you know, and that's just what they're on. And sometimes you just gotta walk away. Of course, you're gonna be angry about somebody laughing at, you know, you're still gonna have that, you know, but you gotta be able to cope. And can it be corrected? Possibly, you know, if your parents have you, in speech and things like that to correct it, keep going. You have to be the person to not give up on something that can be corrected. It depends on how far you want to go and if it matters to you. But, you can't be ready to fight every time someone, does that, because that'll just follow you, and that's what you're going to be on for the rest of your life. But that certainly can't solve things, because, again, that can turn into something to where over the years you've just had that pent up, and now somewhat into young adulthood, and someone picks on you. Now it's escalated from fighting to, you ready to shoot or this, that, and other, because that anger is festered so much to where that's what you're on right now.
Sure. Do you think anger is hereditary?
I possibly, or it's just
learned behavior.
Learn behavior and just from what you see, So again, not picking on parents, but it's just kids pick up on what they see and what they've absorbed. So if it's arguments in the home, if it's a lot of fighting, and kids have no outlet to express what they're feeling. Again, if it's the guidance counselor at school, but their hands are tied and there's no plan B or programs to where that kid can get, what they're feeling out, they absorb it, and they become what they see, unfortunately. So it's just what they pick up, what they see, what they learn, and they go from there.
Wow. Do you ever get calls to do like one-on-one consultations with kids? Like, do parents actually would call you and say, hey, I want you to come talk to my kid, or I want to bring my kid to come see you?
Right. I've had one-on-ones, when I posted content and parents ask me, do I do one-on-ones because, my child is doing various things or whatever. And I'm open to all of it, and it's just, it's times where it's parents, moms who can't handle, the sons, they're acting up in school. I can't teach them this or that. And, they don't necessarily say that, I wish, there was dad in the home, but, it's a lot of times where I can't handle, his behavior, so I've gotten those calls, I've gotten those emails and messages about doing one-on-ones, and I'm open to all of it. It hasn't happened as of yet, because I tend to keep up with, parents and, with their messages and stuff like that. And then it turns cold for whatever reason. But, I'm open to all of it, small groups, one-on-ones, virtual, in person, all of it, and what I do with parents is I clearly send them, my outline and what this program is all about, just so we can all be on the same page, and not that I'm blowing smoke and just talking about, well, I do this, but it's the total opposite. I just want, everybody to be on the same page. And, I throw it out there also, that I'm a full-time teacher. That way, I'm kind of letting them know, that I'm somewhat of the real deal, and I'm not just somebody off the street who's, came up with an idea and stuff like that. Like, I've always worked with kids. So, not saying that, I'm a mastermind or a child psychologist or anything like that, but I think with the experience of letting them know that, that I work with kids and this is an everyday thing, I see different attitudes and moods and things like that. So it's not to where I don't know what I'm doing, but I'd like to think that I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Big shouts to DJ Dave Jordan. He wrote a comment that I kind of agree with, pretty much saying that we've created a thin-skinned society. And he's saying that a lot of kids can't cope because we aren't allowing them to deal with failures, which I do see that a lot. And too many kids today are being shielded from having to work through setbacks. Right.
And that falls in line with the, with the whole mental health and anger and, with kids and parents too, reaching out to get that assistance or get that help, because you don't want to seem like, you know, you're weak in certain areas. But I just think if you get that assistance now, you know, it doesn't linger and turns into something else. You know, it's okay to, and again, I stress the issue. It's okay to be angry. It's okay. You know, it's okay, but we have to learn how to tackle it and those factors, deal with those factors, and then we can kind of know how to go about our everyday lifestyle, you know. But if you're just angry all the time, I mean, a lot of things are lost at that point. You know, you lose friends. You know, nobody wants to hang with the you know, this angry person. You get that. You get that label, you know, angry black girl, angry black boy. Teachers look at you differently. People in your neighborhoods look at you differently. So I just think, you know, it's a gradual process, you know, and you know, you can express yourself and get assistance from people who know some things and are willing to help, people who truly care and are willing to help you and won't stop until, you know, they see your progress. And even then, keep working with you, you know, because it's still an everyday process. And, you know, hopefully parents will see, you know, that you're for real and trying to do some things. And if they're going through some things, you know, they can get, you know, pick up tips and stuff like that. Not that I'm trying to drill at them or, hey, you should talk to your kid this way, you know, but, you know, little advice here and there, and we could all work together, because it's a one effort, you know. So that's what I try and put out there.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. It's definitely been a lot of informative information. Always come back and learn something new. The clock is ticking, so we probably want to start wrapping this up, brother. Any last advice you want to give us, exercises that we could do as adults to manage our anger? You know, I
mean, just again, you know, I'm reaching out to, you know, any youth, parents, any programs that want to, you know, link and, you know, we collaborate. Calm 247, which stands for Control Anger, Limit Madness. We're not labeling youth. We're just trying to get youth to understand, you know, how to, you know, manage your anger, have that self-control, you know, emotional intelligence, how to cope, you know, with trauma or different issues that you may be facing. You know, Calm is here to help. You know, my IG page is Calm, which is C.A.L.M247. You can reach me on there. My email address is rogers.delvin at calm-247.com. You know, you could send me an email, share your questions. I got answers, you know, whatever you want to ask. You know, I'm willing to work with kids of, you know, from age 11 to 18, maybe as young as 10. But I just think that 11, that's when you're getting into that, you know, close to that preteen stage, you know, so to speak. If you're smelling yourself, you know, that's the old school saying, but you know, you're getting into different situations, you know, that middle school scene and social media and stuff like that. And, you know, parents, if you're seeing some things, you know, reach out, you know. And again, anger, I'm not pointing fingers or anything like that. Anger is not a bad thing. It's healthy, you know, but we just got to learn how to control that. So I'm easy to talk to. I'm not an angry guy. You know, I always respond to anything that you send. I post a lot of content. So, you know, parents, if you see anything on Facebook or whatever, you know, like it, you know, make a comment, whatever the case is. I'm always getting a notification. You know, I got my phone on ring, so I always hear it, and I'm eager to respond or eager to help. You know, I'm here to care. I've always worked with kids, so this is nothing new. But I'm open to, you know, trying to reach one, at least one, you know, and then they could just go from there.
That's definitely what's up.
Yes.
You know, I do wear XL T-shirts just to put that out there. You know, we see the marketing going on over there.
Yeah, man, got the shirt made. So any podcast, any IG live that I do, I try and at least wear the shirt, as representation of, what the movement is all about, and again, calm is control, anger, limit madness. And I can't stress enough that I could not come up with a better name for my program than calm, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to remain. And then the acronym is, so fitting, as far as control, anger, limit madness. We want to just remain calm, and go about our everyday life in a calm manner. So that's what I'm trying to push.
That's what it is.
Thank you very much, man.
Definitely dope. Definitely round of applause. It's the HGN live stream. This is our guest, Delvin Rogers Sr. from Calm 24/7. All right, brother, we're going to wrap this up. Rondo, you going to play anything?
Yeah, we're going to continue with some.
We're going to get back to some woo.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure when you come on the show, my brother. And definitely, you're always welcome back. I think we should do maybe a session next time, maybe do some drills, some anger management, maybe get some of the kids involved. I don't know if they could be up this late, but maybe we could do something, some exercises.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. Definitely be reaching out to you to come back. And, we got to do another panel session as well one of these days. So, yes, sir. It's the HGN live stream. And till we see you again, my brother, man, I want to say peace out, man.
Thanks for being on our show, man. Again.
This is what we'll do. All right. So, it's the HGN live stream. That was a regular interview there with our guy, Delvin Rogers Sr., and Ron Dude's going to be taking us back out to play some music as we close this thing out. It's getting late. Some of y'all old folks probably want to go to bed. Thank y'all for hanging in there with us. If y'all can't hang, huh? Anyways, Ron, going to play some woo. We going to get back to the woo?
Yeah, we definitely getting back to the woo.
What we going to run to about 12?
Yeah, to 12 o'clock.
All right, so we'll be getting back.
I'm just so surprised we haven't had any issues aside from that thing which you resolve later on.
I can tell.
But let me not talk too fast because you never know.
Oh, what happened is I just increased my Wi-Fi, so I think that's working.
Oh, all right, cool. That's what's up.
I noticed I had 600, but I let Xfinity talk me into that 1200 Extreme plan or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what I have.
As soon as I uploaded that thing, because it was showing red earlier, and then I started playing with the internet, and I saw it, and I set it up, restarted this thing, and it hasn't even come close. Hasn't even got yellow.
That's what's up. We in there,
Shout out to Xfinity. If you're a cheap promo, y'all need to pay us. That's right. If you do have advertising you want us to do, you can reach out to us at any time. We'll run your ads, your promos, give you a shout out, all of that stuff.
A song request, maybe.
Maybe we'll listen. So shout out to everybody out there. Like I say, we've been gone, but we back now, baby.
Yeah, big shouts DJ Dave Jordan. You said some really important stuff out there.
Yeah,
for real.
And if you guys think there's anything we left off the table, let us know. He'll be back, and we could always ask some more questions, man. I found it very interesting and informative. So, y'all ready?